Good evening, I'm Andrew Chang. Tonight, the desperate search for survivors and for answers.
She's going to be very, very sadly missed.
Off the coast of Greece, another Canadian tragedy.
I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Also tonight, beware the COVID-19 scams.
I was actually very devastated and scared.
As if the virus wasn't bad enough.
It's just like the perfect storm.
Renters worry on the eve of a new month, and so do landlords.
And living with the flooding in Alberta.
We had minutes to get out.
Hard-earned experience tells them hard days are ahead. This is The National. Less than 2 weeks after 22 people were murdered in Nova Scotia, another tragedy for that province and this country.
Canada and its NATO allies now looking for a crashed military helicopter off the coast of Greece. Of the 6 Canadians aboard, 1 is confirmed dead, Sub-Lieutenant Abigail Cobra. The others haven't been found, and each passing day makes that less and less likely. Their families and fellow service members aboard HMCS Fredericton are trapped between hope and grief. And you can see that in the home port, Halifax, where people are paying respects and holding out for any good news. Now, to lose a loved one is always devastating, but as Kayla Hounsell explains, for many, this tragedy is compounding already fresh pain.
It was 1 week ago, Sub-Lieutenant Abigail Cobra, deployed on HMCS Fredericton, offered this tribute to the victims of Nova Scotia's mass shooting. Now, at just 23, Cobra herself has become the victim of a terrible tragedy. She was on board the CH-148 Cyclone helicopter when it crashed.
The Navy just filled her life. It was everything she ever dreamed of.
A graduate of Canada's Royal Military College, she was a Marine Systems Engineering officer.
She was a loving, giving young woman and just lit up every room that she walked into. She's going to be very, very sadly missed.
Cobra's body has been recovered. 5 others are still missing. Naval Warfare Officer Sub-Lieutenant Matthew Pike from Nova Scotia and 4 members of the aircrew. Pilots Captain Brendan MacDonald, also from Nova Scotia, and Captain Kevin Hagen from Nanaimo, British Columbia, Captain Maxime Mirand-Morin from Trois-Rivières, Quebec, and Master Corporal Matthew Cousins from Guelph, Ontario, all based in Halifax.
All of them are heroes. Each of them will leave a void that cannot be filled.
She is just like the most lovable person you would ever meet.
Pastor Jason Cole considered Abigail Cobra a personal friend. He's also now guiding her church community through grief at a time when there is just so much grief in the province she called home.
This is not the way that God intended. God made a perfect world. Humanity botched it, and he offers us salvation through his son. Abigail believed that. I believe that.
When she posted this video, Cobra, who moved to Nova Scotia as a teenager, wrote, "You can travel the world and still never meet anyone like an East Coaster. Glad to have been taken in by them, for I'd have it no other way." She is remembered as bold, brave, and a proud Canadian. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Halifax.
Investigators don't yet know what happened, and as Murray Brewster explains, they're facing a formidable challenge.
The Ionian Sea at sunset, deep and dark, as seen through the windscreen of a Turkish military helicopter. The frantic search today for 5 missing Canadians.
The Cyclone helicopter had conducted flight operations and was returning to the ship. At approximately 6:52 p.m., the ship lost contact with the aircrew, and a few minutes later, flares were spotted in the water.
A 5-year-old Cyclone helicopter had been in the air a little over 2 hours when something went catastrophically wrong, and it inexplicably slammed into the ocean and sank.
As far as we know, they're in about 3,000 meters of water.
And that depth will present perhaps the biggest challenge to the recovery. A large debris field on the bottom indicates the helicopter broke apart.
3,000 meters presents an insurmountable challenge for the Royal Canadian Navy, which means we'd have to seek assistance from allies or possibly from a commercial operator.
Defense Minister Harjit Sajjan told CBC News tonight all options, including the use of Allied diving vehicles, are being considered. Investigators have recovered the flight data recorders. They will be analyzed at the National Research Council in Ottawa. All operation of Cyclone helicopters is paused, but the Air Force expects to get back to business soon.
I do not have any safety concerns at the moment.
The Cyclone helicopters were only recently brought into service, replacements for the Air Force's 5-decade-old Sea Kings. Some of the 28 on order are still being delivered, and Sikorsky, the maker of the Cyclone, has dispatched a team to assist in the investigation. Marie Brewster, CBC News, Ottawa.
So this model of Sikorsky helicopter has had other accidents. Those include the 2009 disaster off of Newfoundland that killed 17 people and a 2017 crash in Ireland that killed all 4 on board.
Now to the latest developments in northern Alberta, where communities are ravaged by flooding. The ice jam on the Athabasca River has been melting due to warmer weather. It's now half of what it was, but the damage is done for the more than 13,000 people who were forced to flee their homes starting 5 days ago, most of them from Fort McMurray. And remember, just 4 years ago, wildfires wreaked havoc on this part of the country. Rafi Boudjikanian shows us that, once again, the people here are exiles from disaster.
We got some food, we got some water.
Pickup time at the donation center. Just the bare necessities, luxuries now for those who fled home fast.
The police were knocking on our door. They said we had minutes to get out.
That was Sunday. Sherry Horlock and her family left with almost nothing. Now they've been able to stock up thanks to the efforts of this volunteer center.
We wanted to donate 20 sandwiches to the firefighters and police and the responders.
Billy Martin's brainchild. He owns a sandwich shop in Fort McMurray.
And then it turned into 300 sandwiches for the evacuees, and it turned into this with a couple phone calls and Facebook posts.
But in the midst of a public health pandemic, concerns stretch beyond material needs. Horlock's temporary shelter is a crowded oil sands work camp.
Because there's so many people, and anybody just a little cough and you think, oh my God, goodness,
Then there are those who had already lost so much. Carolyn Boudreau's condo burned down in the 2016 wildfire, and she's fled her new place because of the floodwaters.
Definitely wonder, what next? What's next? Is there anything else? Tornado maybe? Are we in tornado country? I don't think so, but I'm trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
That light may be further away than some might hope. Up to 7 more days for full re-entry into the community.
We need a number of conditions to be met in order for residents to return to their communities safely. Those conditions include flood water no longer being an imminent threat.
And only then will it be clear the full scope of what needs to be rebuilt. Rafi Boudjikanian, CBC News, Fort McMurray.
Cases of COVID-19 have now reached every province and territory in Canada. Today, Nunavut confirmed its very first case, someone in Pond Inlet. It's not yet known how that person got infected. Across the country, Canada now has more than 53,000 confirmed cases. More than 3,200 people have died. So that number of lives lost is known, but what lies behind it, who the victims are, how they lived, how else they might be linked, is not. Those details aren't released in statistics. So CBC News has made it a mission to gather that information. We're calling the project Lives Remembered. Renee Filipponi with some of what we're learning.
These are some of the people lost in just the first weeks of the pandemic. The first 1,000, part of a database compiled by CBC News. Helen Deutsch Hall was 102, one of the oldest to die.
Have them here. I could show you some of them. They are huge.
Her daughter says she spent years documenting family history. Throughout her long life, she maintained an exceptionally positive disposition.
She recently had a pacemaker put in, and the nurse that had been looking after her said, "Oh, Helen, I'm not going to see you tomorrow. It's my day off. I hope everything goes well." And Mom said, "Oh, don't worry, it will."
At the other end of the spectrum, Nicole Hoffman, In her 20s, she's Canada's youngest known victim of COVID-19. Her fiancé has started a fundraiser to honor her love of animals. Our data found the gender split was fairly even, that 8 out of 10 deaths were people over the age of 70. And while most were retired, those still working were diverse, from healthcare workers to a youth worker, a high school custodian, and a musician. In one case, a mother and daughter with a close bond, 93-year-old Ruth Shepard and her 56-year-old daughter, Tammy.
It's a very sweet relationship, very special. Tammy lived with my grandmother her whole life.
The pair had recently moved into this nursing home, hit hard by COVID-19. Tammy Shepard died 6 days after her mother. So much about Canada's first 1,000 deaths is still unknown. In provinces like BC and Alberta, demographic information is provided regularly. In other places, that level of detail is difficult to get. All the while, the death toll in Canada rises daily, past 3,000 now. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, Vancouver.
So as we said, those stories are important to tell. They help us see past that enormous statistic, that death toll, into the true human loss. If you want to share the story of someone you lost to this virus, reach out to us at covid@cbc.ca.
Well, Alberta has joined other provinces in unveiling its plan to relax public health restrictions.
What we need to do is manage the risk, and that's what our relaunch strategy is based on.
Premier Jason Kenney says the multi-stage plan will begin Monday with the resumption of some surgeries and reopenings for some healthcare providers like dentists and physiotherapists. It'll be mid-May, though, before non-essentials like shops, bars, and restaurants can open their doors.
We cannot wait this out. We must adapt and adjust our lives living with COVID-19.
Newfoundland and Labrador introduced its own plan today, following New Brunswick's lead to immediately allow people to expand their social bubbles to include one other household. May 11th was also set as a target date where, if certain conditions are met, some low-risk businesses could reopen and certain medical procedures would resume. Now, of all the provinces and territories, Quebec has been hardest hit by COVID-19, but it also has the most ambitious target for relaxing restrictions, starting Monday in most of the province and just a week later in Montreal. Alison Northcott shows us why that's causing anxiety, especially in outbreak hotspots.
As Quebec moves to slowly start reopening in the coming weeks, officials in the borough of Montreal North are working to contain an outbreak, and some want more time.
If we want to flatten the COVID-19 propagation curve, we should wait for Montreal. Should wait especially for Montreal North.
The Quebec government says it's watching things closely here and in several Montreal hospitals hit by outbreaks. At this one, the virus is complicating things in the emergency room, and some worry the reopening could push it to the limit.
If we see another surge of COVID while we're still in the first surge, then it's not going to be nice. It's going to be really a problem, I think.
The Premier acknowledges the battle in Montreal isn't over and says his plan to reopen schools, daycares, and some businesses over the next month can change if conditions demand it.
It's time to be more disciplined than ever. If we stop our efforts and the situation doesn't improve in Montreal, I won't hesitate to push back the reopening.
He says the outbreak in most of Quebec is under control, but still expects more cases and more deaths in the coming days.
We're on the front line. We hear what's going on.
This ER doctor says hospitals should be able to handle a new wave if restrictions are eased carefully.
We're agreeing with going to the next step as long as it's contained and it's well controlled.
But the nurses union says its members are already stretched and worried about what might come next.
They feel extremely stressed by knowing that, because of course the risk of contamination is going to increase drastically.
The province says it will ramp up testing in Montreal North in the coming days and across Quebec in the coming weeks. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
For millions of Canadians, rent is due tomorrow, but with businesses shuttered and so many people out of work, some won't be able to pay. As Briar Stewart explains, others are choosing not to.
Every night in Metro Vancouver, people cheer for healthcare workers. On these balconies, everyone is a renter, including at this building where Ryan and Kathleen live. The couple didn't want their last names used.
We both lost our jobs basically early on in March. Got lots of debt from the winter, credit cards and stuff, so it's just like the perfect storm for...
Kathleen is receiving the federal government's emergency benefit, and Ryan is on EI. They didn't pay rent last month and won't in May either.
We kept what would have been rent and spent it on food and basic stuff.
Across Canada, about a third of households rent. BC launched a $500 rent subsidy. More than 50,000 people applied, but many are finding out they're ineligible because their income was too high last year.
The next couple of months are going to be very critical.
David Hutniak is with a group representing landlords in the province. He says the federal government should have launched a rental supplement program as well, because if tenants don't pay, landlords who rely on the monthly income to pay their own mortgages could be in financial trouble.
Renters are suffering and unhappy, and so is our sector because, there's moratoriums on evictions and rents are not being paid.
Hutniak's organization conducted a survey and found 10% of BC landlords were not paid any rent in April, and there are fears the number could be higher in May. There's a campaign underway urging tenants to organize and join a rent strike.
That means both in keeping their rent today and in pushing back and resisting any attempts to evict tenants that have made that decision down the line.
Ryan and Kathleen say it doesn't make sense to pay part of the rent because it won't protect them from being evicted once bans are lifted. So they're meeting with neighbors who are in a similar situation and hope when this is over, they won't all be forced to find a new place to live. Briar Stewart, CBC News, New Westminster, BC.
Now, the anxiety, even desperation of Canadians in a cash crunch is just what scammers look for and prey on. And these days, they're at it big time. We've got a couple of stories tonight to give you a sense of what to watch for, starting with Makta Gabraselase's look at loan offers to avoid.
Like other businesses, the COVID pandemic has taken a big bite out of this couple's doggy daycare.
We're getting about 3 or 4 dogs a day. That's a 75% cut in revenue.
After researching loans online, he got an unsolicited offer from First Capital Canada for a $20,000 loan. Looked legitimate, but there was a catch.
I had to put up a bunch of money in order to get a loan. It didn't make a lot of sense to me.
It's called an advance fee loan. According to the Better Business Bureau, it's illegal. Victims don't get the loan or their money back.
I think scammers are taking advantage of the pandemic to try to get more money because they know that a lot of Canadians right now are going to be strapped for cash.
Take a look at the Better Business Bureau Scam Tracker. Now, this shows complaints from across the country from people saying they lost hundreds or thousands of dollars, including this woman in Ontario who we agreed not to identify because of her job. She says she paid almost $4,000 up front to secure a $20,000 loan from Belford Capital Service, but the loan never came.
People are in desperate situations where they're counting on someone to assist them and help them out, and they're just taking advantage of you.
2 companies, 2 identical contracts. So the company that offered her the loan, its website is now down. As for the company that Terry was dealing with, First Capital Canada, its website was only registered 2 weeks ago. So we called them up. We tried several times. He hung up. Makta Gabraselases, CBC News, Toronto.
The scam this next story highlights begin with a text and some apparently good news, but there is a catch. We'll let Katie Nicholson take it from there.
For me, it was convincing because I actually didn't know if they would send me a text or not.
After losing her restaurant job, Joanna Giannakopoulos had applied for the CERB, so she didn't think much of it when she got this text.
I basically had to sign into my bank, which was my card number and then my password for my online banking. And then after that, it was a bunch of other personal questions.
That's when she realized she was being scammed.
I felt that my money was going to be taken out of my account, so I was actually very devastated and scared.
She called her bank and the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. Turns out, she's one of the lucky ones. In the last 2 months, the CAFC has received 739 reports linked to COVID-19 scams. In total, 178 victims have lost a combined $1.2 million.
It's the heightened sense of anxiety, of fear that exists. The isolation that people are in right now is also a key factor. Essentially, frauds are designed to get people to not think straight. So it's a prime time for scammers and fraudsters to solicit their scams.
One in particular preys on coronavirus fears, a message telling victims they've been exposed to someone who tested positive for COVID-19. When you click on the link, it infects your computer with malware.
So how can you protect yourself? Well, as far as the CERB goes, the federal government says it will never ask you to apply or notify you of a payment through text or email. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, several U.S. states are pushing ahead with plans to reopen tomorrow.
I'm tired of going zipping up a body bag with somebody that I know.
Up next, the very real concerns in the southern U.S. tonight.
And later, we check in with Bianca Andreescu.
Where are you? I'm in my basement. This is where I live now.
How the Canadian tennis superstar is staying active while staying home.
And tonight's moment is a moment we are all waiting for.
Look who it is! Give me a hug.
A post-quarantine hug from Newfoundland. We're back in 2.
Welcome back. Here are some of the international stories we're watching tonight. The British Prime Minister says there is reason for hope in the fight against COVID-19.
And so I can confirm today that for the first time, we are past the peak of this disease.
In his first press conference since recovering from the virus himself, Boris Johnson said he will unveil a plan next week to reopen the UK, but he warned an even bigger outbreak could occur if it's not done right. The UK has the second highest death toll in Europe at nearly 27,000. By tomorrow, dozens of U.S. states will have at least partially reopened, and many more will do so in the coming days. But many experts warn this is too much, too soon, prompting fears of another wave of infections.
Georgia was on the forefront of that push to reopen, to the dismay of many. Katie Simpson was there and spoke to those concerned about the impact on one community in particular.
8 months pregnant, Cher Salmon knows there's risk in returning to work. The single mom applied for grants and loans so she wouldn't have to reopen her salon, but didn't qualify.
I have no choice. I have to get back to work. If there was a choice, I would be closed still. Good to see you.
With the reopening of some non-essential businesses, there is concern in Georgia's African American community the public health crisis may worsen.
I wish that the governor would just chill out and let this thing fly, and then everybody can go back to work, not just the front line, who are mostly black, in this situation.
Kebby Williams has paused his music mentoring program for inner city kids, and he questions the governor's decision to reopen salons, barbershops, and restaurants where low-wage workers are often people of color.
It doesn't seem like he's thinking about us. It's like we're not even a thought in the matter,
Exposure in Georgia is a worry, as a new study there finds 80% of COVID-19 patients who need hospitalization are African American.
And it's like someone walking over to the wall and flipping the light on and exposing all of these healthcare disparities.
Mac Willis and his 2 sons are recovering from the disease. He says the crisis must be used to address the long-standing systemic lack of access to healthcare. One reason why this has been so devastating for African Americans.
I know these individuals in our community, and that's why I'm fighting for our community. I'm tired of going zipping up a body bag with somebody that I know.
The coroner in Georgia's hardest-hit county understands the need to reopen the economy, but with his rural morgue full, he's urging people to stay home. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Atlanta, Georgia.
Ahead on the National, At Issue looks at the politics of reopening. Quebec is the hardest hit province, so we look at why it's moving faster than others and whether that is a political gamble.
And we will be taking on some of your COVID-19 questions, including this one. I'm hearing more about the possibility of airborne transmission. Is this possible? The answer after this. Welcome back. It is time to answer your COVID-19 questions. And joining me tonight, infectious diseases specialist, Dr. Lenora Saxinger. Hello to you, and let's get started. This first question that we've been getting since the very start of all of this. I'm hearing more about the possibility of airborne transmission. Is this possible? And if we don't know, shouldn't we assume the worst?
Yes, this is a very contentious issue, and I think there's been a lot of more lab-based studies now suggesting this possibility, and it is a possibility. I think it's reassuring, though, that the WHO stance, the CDC stance are supported by the actual observation that this infection seems to spread mostly from one person to 2 to 3 other people in most of the studies, whereas airborne infections, where that's the main mode of transmission, usually spread to a much greater number of people, like 8 to 12, because you can contact them through entering an airspace well after the infected person has left. So it still looks like this infection is primarily spread from an infected person, and you have to be in fairly close contact to them or in contact with their secretions by touching your hands and then touching your face.
Right.
And so the overall pattern, I think, is reassuring.
Okay, that's interesting. Here's a question about the potential solution to all of our problems. Will the COVID-19 vaccine be a live vaccine, and will it be safe for all people?
Right, so there's well over 70 now, I think, vaccine candidates that are being evaluated. And as far as I know, I don't think any of them are live viruses. Most of them are using subunits of the virus and purifying them, so there would be no risk of actually acquiring the infection from the vaccine. It's just a specific part of the virus meant to elicit an immune response. So I think that the vaccines that make it through the trials will be very safe for anybody.
Okay. Will the COVID-19 vaccine be more effective than the flu vaccine?
Well, we don't even know for sure that we'll have an effective vaccine, but I think the odds are good. And I'm thinking that what we see so far is that the vaccine will not need to be changed seasonally the way the influenza vaccine needs to be changed. And so in that way, I think it would be likely to be more effective.
Okay. Dr. Saxinger, we'll leave it there. I always enjoy speaking with you, though. Thanks so much for your time.
Oh, thank you very much.
And as we've mentioned, we will be asking your questions about COVID-19 as often as we can, so send them in. Message us directly on Instagram at CBC The National, or send us an email at covid@cbc.ca. Just be sure to put The National in the subject line.
Ahead on the National, a post-quarantine family reunion.
Look who it is!
A simple hug is our moment as Newfoundland and Labrador relax restrictions. But up next, Rosie's here with At Issue.
Adrian, as the provinces unveil their reopening strategies, is Quebec moving too fast compared to its neighbors? Tonight, we're looking at the political stakes and risks. Chantal, Andrew, and Althea will join all of us right after the break.
For the latest coronavirus pandemic updates, breaking news, and top stories, download the CBC News app now.
Across the country, provinces are moving forward with their own plans for reopening, but the province with the highest number of new cases, Quebec, has become a bit of an outlier, moving faster on some fronts than others. Premier François Legault addressed some of that criticism today.
If we stop our efforts and the situation doesn't improve in Montreal, I won't hesitate to push back the reopening.
So how much of a political gamble is this for Quebec? It's Thursday, and I'm here with that issue. Chantal Hébert is in Montreal, Andrew Coyne is in Toronto, and Althea Raj here in Ottawa, all of them working from their homes. Okay, I did want to talk about Quebec because I understand, I hear what the Premier says every day. I certainly understand that there are different restrictions outside of Montreal rather than inside Montreal, which is really the epicenter for the province, certainly. But I'm still not sure whether this is too big a health risk, as his own public health officer says. It's a bit of a gamble, or whether this is really a big political risk for him. So I'll start with you, Chantal, because you are in Montreal.
It's both. François Legault has earned top scores for approval over his handling of the crisis, and he still enjoys, I believe, the confidence of the vast majority of Quebecers. But you have to be careful to take him at his word, as in Quebec may be moving fast, but it has not moved yet.
Yes.
And that has been made really clear. It will always be something of a gamble to decide when you do jump in that water that is reopening. And it is a fact that beyond the numbers, outside Montreal, the pandemic is very much under control. And in Montreal, the hotspots really are centered on old age homes and long-term care homes. But for sure, Premier Legault has a lot of capital, and he's put a hell of a lot of it on the table on this.
And the Prime Minister, Andrew, has been asked about it all through the week, and very reluctant, in part because it is Quebec, but maybe it would be with any province, to criticize or say anything about the approach that Quebec has taken. Is there anything he can do or say in this instance if we get 2 weeks down the road and it doesn't look like it's the right time?
He's got relatively few levers. Most of this is within provincial jurisdiction, and he wants to preserve, I think, capital with the provinces, with the premiers, to continue the kind of cooperation and collaboration that I think we have been seeing a fair bit of through this crisis, and that's a great asset for the country. It does have implications for neighboring provinces if one province or another has a renewed outbreak, because unless we're going to absolutely continue to keep the border sealed between the provinces, which is not good for the health of the federation or the economy, then you could see people migrating from one province to another and causing problems for the neighboring provinces. Some risk is permissible in this. It was worth it to shut down the economy to prevent an out-of-control outbreak that would have killed tens of thousands. It's not worth it to keep it closed to get the caseload down to zero. We just want to make sure we keep it manageable. The question is whether this is a smart risk, and I think the remaining item for concern is we do not have the testing capacity as of yet to be able to do what all the experts say we have to do, which is to be able to pounce on every case that crops up in future.
What do you think, Althea? Is this a risk, I mean, not only from a public health perspective, but as we talked about, a political perspective here for the Quebec Premier?
I think the risks exist for every provincial premier that opens. I mean, the provincial premiers have been front and center to this, to the pandemic response. And so if it goes badly, they will for sure wear it. I think what's important to stress is that Premier Legault, like frankly every other provincial premier, has said very clearly that they're taking baby steps, and if anything pops up, then they're ready and they're willing to go back a few steps, not just hit the pause button, but reverse decisions and go back to full lockdown. I think that it's going to be really important for people to know why decisions are happening, what the risk is, why can they go to the barber shop but they can't go to the movie theater, and the easing of interprovincial movement is going to be really important, that is very well coordinated. And for example, Quebec and Ontario, we already know that the border is not going to be reopening tomorrow, for example.
Yeah. Chantal, you went in there. Go ahead.
2 points. I think possibly Ontario, other provinces are not unhappy to see the Premier with the most political capital test the water. To see what happens, because the political risk is actually real. But the other reality that one has to acknowledge, and you don't need to be a public health expert at this point to have realized it, is that public health experts will have different opinions.
That does,
but I think there's a risk tolerance that, like, for example, Premier Legault today talking about how there are 44,000 COVID cases in long-term homes in the province. And basically just telling the population, brace for it. More people are going to die. There will be many, many, many more deaths, is what he told people. Like, that maybe is tolerable for Quebecers, but maybe, it would not be so tolerable for Newfoundlanders. I don't know, but I think that there is a regional difference, and people have different stocks. Different provincial leaders have the ability to say certain things that others do not.
I'll let Chantal respond, and then I'll get Andrew to wrap it up. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let's be real. The way that people heard Premier Legault on this today was not, I'm allowing people to die. It was that this is happening and these people will probably not be saved, which is a very different proposition. It's not a tolerance issue. It's an information issue. This is happening to older people, and it's going to be very hard to reverse that curve in those settings.
But I will say, Andrew, and I'll get you to respond, that Dr. Tam actually this week said, when asked about Quebec, there will be different tolerance for risk across the country. Not particularly in Quebec or another place, but it is up to people to mitigate that, how far they're willing to push themselves and their population. Andrew.
Yeah, there is actually some polling data that suggests Quebecers are a bit more tolerant of opening up a little sooner than other provinces, and that may be part of the political mix as well. And the need to take some chances is apparent because the cost of the economy is absolutely extraordinary, and we're finding out new data on that every day. That being said, if it's a choice between going a little bit slower and doing the testing versus going a little bit faster and having to take them back, having to put the controls back on, I would go for the former. The cost in terms of public morale and business confidence of having to reimpose controls after they've been taken off, I think would be enormous.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thank you so much. If you want to hear more from the three of these guys, you can subscribe to At Issue, the podcast, for extra content. This week, we're going to talk about something completely different, the Conservative leadership race. It was paused. Now it's back on. Look for it on any major podcast app, our website, cbcnews.ca/The National. And with that, it's back to Adrian and Andrew in Toronto.
Just ahead, she's off the court, but Bianca Andreescu is still in the game.
I need some coffee.
It didn't end very well for you.
There was some glitches.
We talk through her virtual performance and her new competitive outlet next.
But first, as we go to break, tonight's COVID-19 how-to guide, some advice, and a reminder that's about to become more important than ever. Over time, it's become easier to convince friends and family to take physical distancing seriously, but it is a challenge that will crop up again if Canadians get too comfortable and let their guard down.
And I can tell you from every shift that I work in the emergency department, and you don't know which side of this you're going to fall on.
You don't know, doctors say, because not all young people are resilient, the same way not all elderly people are vulnerable. If you get infected, you roll the dice. And we do know that you can be infected and contagious without feeling a single thing.
One approach is to sort of appeal to the greater good and say, look, you may not be susceptible, but people who are older, people with chronic diseases, people with weak immune systems are, and you might expose them. So do this for their sake.
If we follow best practices, yes, it will all have felt like an overreaction. But that's the point. The best case scenario, if we all stay away from other people, is that nothing happens.
I'm Tom Power. When I thought I might get a TV show, I never thought it'd be from my actual living room. I'll be chatting with all sorts of great people, artists, first responders, and you. Watch What Are You At? Sunday at 8 on CBC and CBC Gem.
CBC Listen. Hear it all here. Download today.
I'm Jamie Poisson, and tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast Front Burner, a long-time investigation into fashion mogul Peter Nygard and the shocking sexual assault allegations from 46 women, including at least 17 Canadians. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, my name is Carmelo Kuki. I'm in my mid-40s, and I'm a resource teacher with the Toronto Catholic District School Board. Part of the work I do is embrace new technologies and deliver help to teachers. Using this 3D printer, we're producing personal protection equipment for our healthcare workers. My specialty is STEAM, integrating science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. We've produced 50 of these headgears for the Michael Garron Hospital. We're a family of 5, and every room becomes a homework space. Projects in the living room, 3D printing. But we do our best to help where we can. What I'm hopeful for is that people become really appreciative of the fact that they can just go out and see family and be with friends in public places and really enjoy being around each other's company.
So teaching is just one of the jobs upended by this pandemic. Another, tennis superstar. If 2020 was going according to anybody's plan, Canada's own Bianca Andreescu would be prepping for a serious summer of competition, but instead, she's at home, finding her own way through this. So we dropped by virtually to say hi.
How are you? You look good.
So do you.
Where are you? I'm in my basement. This is where I live now. My parents are upstairs.
Right about now, Bianca Andreescu of giant Canadian tennis fame should be warming up for the Madrid Open. She's not there, obviously, but the tournament goes on virtually. And in true Bianca form, she's all in, getting suited up in her basement.
Haven't done my taxes, I'm too turned up.
A little Drake walk-on music, some finger exercises for that game controller.
Oh my God, I need some coffee.
And some serious commentary along with her moves.
Oh, damn it. If only I can hit these aces in real life.
It didn't end very well for you.
There was some glitches that were happening, but I mean, I guess my connection is just really, really shitty, or I'm just that bad.
And practicing the real thing is hard now.
I'm not hitting. Everything's canceled. Like, you can't go in a park. You can't use a tennis facility, you know, so...
Like, there's no driveway nearby that you could get one of those, you know, balls on a string and...
I'd rather just use my mind than do that.
The athlete in her never quits, and there's a new game with Dad, chess.
It's definitely bringing, like, the competitive aspect out of me.
I'm a little afraid for your dad.
It's been
in this
fun.
moment.
You should be.
I know.
Because I'm actually pretty decent.
And she's okay. Thankful every day, she says, for what she has and for those on all the front lines.
Ultimately, you are protecting all of Canada, so thank you.
Well, they are Team Canada, eh?
They are Team Canada.
So we should say that while Bianca may have lost that online tournament, a familiar face won on the men's side, Andy Murray. He donated half of his winnings to the NHS and to a tennis development charity.
Hey, I've always said time spent playing video games is time well spent. We'll be right back with The Moment.
Give me a hug. Give me a hug. Aww.
Tonight, it's something that once upon a time seemed so normal, a hug from Grandma and Grandpa.
For the latest coronavirus pandemic updates, breaking news, and top stories, download the CBC News app now.
Well, this family in Mount Pearl, Newfoundland, experienced a joyful reunion today when the province implemented a rule to allow 2 households to start socializing, aka the double bubble. Now, the children, Finnegan, 5 years old, and Seamus, 3 years old, they got to see their grandparents for the first time since the shutdown, and that's tonight's moment.
Guess who's here? Finnegan and Seamus are really close to their grandparents. They provided childcare for us for a long time, and they still do on a part-time basis. They have them 2 days a week.
Look who it is!
So to kind of go cold turkey without seeing them for a long time, it was really tough on all of us. You know, they're best buddies. So we've been having a couple of window visits over the course of the last 7 weeks, but trying to explain that to a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old is really difficult.
I can't believe I saw Nanny and Poppy
I know.
in our house.
Give me 5.
Now they're gone.
Yeah, they had to go home. But what are you doing tomorrow?
Sleep over with them.
Okay, so firstly, of course, they have a cool name for it, the double bubble. Of course, Newfoundland would do that. And I have to say, the idea of coming up with a list of people you want to hug is kind of delicious to me.
Yeah, except the hard part is you can only pick one other household, right? You gotta pick and choose. I don't even know how you begin to make that choice.
Oh, it's easy.
Oh.
Listen, that is the national for April 30th. Good night.
Good night.